Hey Leo, Mariah here. It's a pleasure to be reading for you. I hope you're doing really good. I hope you're really well. And I cannot believe we are literally in the final days or day of 2023. I just want to let you know it's been such an honor and a privilege to have you here with me on my channel and allow me to pour into you just like you guys have poured into me over this past year. And I'm incredibly blessed to have each and every single one of you here and a part of the channel. So before we end the year, of course, I want to see what is the last message that you need to know of your 2023. So let's hop into this, Leo. What is it that Leo needs to know as far as the final Eight of Pentacles in the reverse as their final message of 2023? What is the final message? I feel like somebody's spirit is like reaching out to me. The Justice, somebody's spirit is reaching out to me. It's like if you're climbing up some stairs, right? And you got somebody at the top of the stairs and you're trying to climb the stairs and the stairs are very steep and somebody's reaching out their hand trying to pull you up. This feels like the future you. This is your spirit self. It doesn't feel like anybody in your external reality. This is like your soul. Your soul is trying to pull you up from where you are, pull you up from where you're from. One thing I just have to say, just kind of aside, I hate that I'm going off to the left here really quick. But there's a saying that emotionally unavailable people will make you feel like your needs is too much. Emotionally unavailable people will make it seem like your basic needs is too great. So maybe in 2023, you learn whether this is family, friends, or even romantic partners, you may have been made to feel like what you were asking for, what you wanted, just your basic needs was just too significant or too much for them, too much for them to accommodate, too much for them to be able to work with. 7 of Cups, 6 of Cups. Yeah, it's like your basic needs were too much for somebody. And that has nothing to do with you, but if a person is not available to meet you where you stand, then of course they're going to make it seem like your basic needs is too much. But I go back to what I was just getting originally, not to go off onto a side tangent there, but I think that's maybe one of the lessons that you've learned in your 2023. And that's kind of what is making me want to ask you, what are the lessons that you learned? What did you learn, right? It's like understanding that your safety is worth your happiness. You know, it's also understanding that trauma can make you afraid to be happy. It's also understanding that, you know, grief doesn't have an expiration date. It's also understanding that expectations that we've placed on ourselves doesn't always come to fruitfulness or realization, and that's not fair to you. I'm sorry, I'm a little all over the place. I just feel a little bit overwhelmed with the energy. But that's what that reminds me of. So if I am going back to the energy that I was originally feeling of somebody pulling you up, this is like your future self. It almost feels like Spirit wants you to be proud of how far you've come. It's like Spirit wants you to be proud that you've done a good job. You've sowed seeds into yourself and you sowed seeds into others. And even if you didn't get to bear the fruits of those seeds that you planted, it's like this was the year, your 2023, because it's not a race, it's a marathon. That's important. It's like this was the year of the marathon, but in our mind, we may have had expectations on this being the year of the race. We may have had expectations on 2023 of this being the year of full-on accomplishments of all the things we wanted and what our heart desired. But what Spirit's timeline is for you and your timeline for yourself don't always correlate. And it feels like Spirit placed you in a position for 2023 for you to build the foundational blocks, for you to start building the infrastructure so that way you can start to see and bear the fruits in your 2024. So even if I was to give you an example, let's say in the context of love, maybe this was the year that you wanted a relationship. Maybe this was the year that you wanted to be with somebody, and we did the work and we were working on ourselves this year, but we may have not found that love. And this may have not been that season of your life to receive that love, but this was that season for you to build the foundational steps within yourself. So that way, when you do meet the love that is meant for you, you're able to sustain it and keep it and have it, and from a healthy place, because you were able to use this time in your 2023 to work on yourself. Or if this is in regards to a business, maybe this is the year you started that website, you started that business, you started putting yourself out there on social media. And maybe because we didn't receive the results that we were seeking in our 2023, whether our business was going to start booming this year, or we're going to start getting that social media following, or we're going to get those orders, or really start seeing our finances grow. But even if that didn't play out this way, this was the year for you to actually plant the seed, so that way you have the infrastructure for your 2024. It reminds me of the saying, you know, do today what you could do tomorrow. This is your future self doing things today that your future self can be thankful for. And I think that's what that hand that I'm just visualizing, and I know it's not gonna be for everybody, I'm just being honest, but that's what that reminds me of, that hand that I'm visualizing of pulling you up these stairs. Because what you have done can't go unnoticed. And even if this was a year for you, Leo, where you felt like you couldn't get out the bed, you felt like you couldn't keep going forward, you felt like you couldn't keep pushing on, or you didn't have the energy, it's the fact that even if you couldn't run, you may have jogged. If you couldn't jog, you may have had to walk. If you couldn't walk, you may have had to crawl, but you didn't stop and you kept going. And even when you felt like the things that you were doing on a day-to-day basis was very minuscule, those small things that you did with just continuing to pursue forward and continuing to push on, all of those things still count in the compound effect of building an infrastructure for 2024. So it feels like Spirit is wanting me to tell you, to let you know, to be proud of yourself, that you have came this far, that you have done what you needed to do, that you have sowed into others. And even if you didn't receive, and I think that's where I go back to, I feel like I'm getting different messages that are correlating back into the same thing. I think this is where I go back to that emotionally unavailable people, because you may have found yourself this year in year 2024 sowing into others, pouring seeds into others, and breathing life into other people, and you may have not received that back in reciprocation. It may have not been mutual, but that you receiving back from others what you didn't get has no fault to you, right? That is not your own problem to bear. You did, and you put up your part of the deal of being able to sow into those people, and Spirit didn't just forsake you for doing that. It hasn't gone unnoticed. Oh my God, I'm sorry. I just really, and I didn't even get on the cards yet. I feel like I'm scrambling here. Oh my God, I didn't get on cards yet. Okay. But I gotta go. I just gotta go. I gotta, you know me, Leo. We've been at this for some years now. I gotta go what my gut is telling me, and it's pointing me off of the cards. Because it's you. I feel like I'm looking at you currently and you in the future. I can feel the energy. And it's like the whole time as you've been going through 2023, you haven't been going at it alone. Your future self, your spirit, your soul, and even with your spiritual team have been walking alongside of you, getting you to where you need to be. But I think our own expectations we placed on ourselves for how 2023 should have played out have limited our own selves, how we expected things that should have played out and maybe didn't play out fully in the way that we wanted to. It sets us up for disappointment. It sets us up to feel like we didn't accomplish. It sets us up to feel like we failed. It sets us up to feel like we were forsaken and you weren't. But your timing is not going to be on time with Spirit's time. And it feels like we may have put the cart before the horse when we come to think about seasons. And you can't forget the season of preparation. And it feels like your 2023 was a season of preparation for your 2024 to be your season of excellence, your season of receiving. And of course, even in 2024, you are still going to have your hiccups. There are still going to be things that don't come together efficiently. There are still going to be your times where you are feeling confused and you're wondering when are things are going to come together, when is life going to feel like the way you've always wanted to feel. And that is going to happen for you, but your season ain't when you want it to be. This is when Spirit is letting you know when you're prepared for it. So again, there has to be some kind of a reality check within ourselves. I hate to go there, but there does have to be a little bit of a reality check of ourselves of trying to limit it. There is not a race, it's a marathon, and the only person that's competing against you is yourself. So if it's not happening in the year or in the month or in the week in the time frame that we want it, only thing you're doing is putting pressure on yourself, because things are still going to play out in the way that they're meant to play out anyway. Things are still going to unfold when it's going to happen anyway. What's meant for you is not going to leave you. It's going to come into your pathway, but it may not happen on the timing that you would like it to. And this is why those expectations of our 2023 and how things should have played out may have been more of a hindrance for us when it didn't play out, or we didn't get that love, or the job didn't come through, or now we're dealing with instability, or finances didn't flourish in the way that we wanted to, or we started putting momentum in a certain area, but we didn't see the full thriving of it this year. And that is okay, because the Spirit's asking you to be proud of yourself, because you at least did it. You at least started. You at least continued. You at least kept going. You at least kept persevering. And that's the thing. It's like nothing changes if nothing changes. But this was the year that you started making significant changes, whether it's on yourself, your mindset, how you interact with others, whether it's changes with your finances, the job, career, living situation, your family, your friends, your lovers. You put the wheels in motion. And that's why I get that energy of like your future. I'm hearing like, what is the song? It's by Dolly Parton, Jolene, which is an abstract song to get because obviously she's on the song begging Jolene not to take her man, but it almost feels like in a very abstract way you begging or asking spirit, God, whoever it is that you believe in, why is this happening to me, or why am I being forsaken, or when is this going to happen, why is it not happening? And again, because it goes back to those expectations. God and spirit didn't just not hear what you had to say, but it feels like though those things that you were praying out where you may have felt like you weren't heard, you felt like you weren't seen, you felt like things weren't coming together, all of those things, if I could put this appropriately, you're not fated to suffer, but you had to feel that frustration so that way you can understand that the only person that's going to frustrate you is you. If you lose that job, you lose that man, you lose that business, that has no dealings with you. If you start that business, you get that relationship, you start changing your finances, but it's not progressing in the way that you wanted to or how you would have liked it to this year, that has nothing to do with you. That is just a season that you have to be in to learn how to adjust and recalibrate during those bumpy moments. So that way in 24, when they come back up again, you know how to maneuver smooth sailing. That's what this reminds me of. I hope this makes sense. I hope this makes sense. I'm sorry, I just feel like this was definitely, no, this was for sure all over the place. But somebody will make sense of this. Leo, know that I love you. And I look forward to your 2024. I think you've built a very beautiful foundation, whether you see that for yourself or not in your 2023. You really have. And I'm so ecstatic to see in 2024 what you do with that foundation and how you grow and how you thrive off of that foundation. So just know that I love you. I wish you the best new year ahead. I can't wait to see you in 2024 like we always do. I'll be back at it again. Love from Houston, of course. And you guys be well. Bye.